The Wheat School on RealAgriculture.com is brought to you by CNMC, Syngenta Canada, and the Alberta Wheat Commission.
Hey, Kara Oostros here with RealAgriculture.com. I'm back here today with another Wheat School episode, and I have here with me Jeremy Boychyn, who's an agronomy research extension specialist with Alberta Wheat and Barley Commissions. How is it going today?
It's going wonderful, Kara. I'm in a wheat field. It's growing. Things are good.
Absolutely. It's green. It's good. So we're here today to talk about, as you know, we're seeing wheat starting to emerge in different parts of the province, and you're going to start getting out and scouting. Now, part of scouting is creating that bit of a diagnostic picture. Do you want to tell us what we should be looking for?
Yeah, every year there's certain times of the year where we get a lot of questions coming in. People are seeing issues in the field. They're trying to address what those issues are. And I think it's important to get an idea of how we should properly approach these issues to make sure that we're collecting the information that we need to properly address what the issue is. And make sure that we are actually addressing the issue as it is and not misdiagnosing. And I think that takes an approach of maybe not assuming the first thing that comes to mind is what the issue is. And the approach I like to take is to kind of prove myself wrong. And if I can't prove myself wrong in my first assumption, then maybe it is that. So I like to approach this on kind of a different lens, and I use 4 different lenses to look at this. I look at it from a field scale, and then from a plant scale, a mechanical scale, and then a time scale. And if you break each portion down, you can begin to build a picture of what that issue may be in the field. So if we look first at field scale, we start to ask ourselves the question of where are the actual issues showing up? Are they on hilltops? Are they in low areas? And if you do maybe variable rate and you have field maps of what your soil is like in different areas of the field. So once we have an idea of what we're looking at in terms of symptoms on a field scale, and maybe even you can actually draw out a picture of the field and indicate in that picture, kind of an impromptu picture of where that's showing up in the field. You can get on to the next lens, which is plant scale. This is where you're digging up plants, you're pulling them up, and you're saying, where are the symptoms actually showing up on the plant? Are they on the new leaves? Are they on older leaves? Is there symptoms showing up in the root system? Is it scattered? Does it not show up on any particular leaf or any particular area? It seems to be in different parts of the plant on different plants. And take note of all this. Write down the symptoms you see, so that way as you're looking through this further, you can begin to compile all of those symptoms that you're seeing. And this becomes important when you're looking to share this information or get an input from maybe a fellow agronomist or a different farmer. And as always, take lots of pictures, take pictures of the symptoms you're seeing. And one thing that maybe we don't do so often is take pictures of the plants that aren't showing symptoms. And this is helpful for that comparison of, okay, what symptoms are showing up here that aren't showing up in the plants that are looking good? And this helps, again, with that diagnosis process. So now we've gone through field scale, we've looked at plant scale, and now what I like to look at is mechanical scale. And you can kind of tie this into field scale a little bit, but I like to separate it because I think it helps break it down into sections, which is, are there any maybe indicators that this could be a mechanical issue? So are there straight lines down the field where symptoms are showing up? Is it potentially at overlaps, at headlands? And these are areas that you can, when you're looking into that mechanical question, where are they potentially showing up? So looking at it again from a mechanical scale. And then the last one, which is a little bit more complex, but I think is important, is to look at it from a time scale. And this requires you to ask the question of what maybe biological or environmental or mechanical conditions, including maybe herbicide applications or fertilizer applications happened over the past 18 months in these areas. And then when you have these visual diagnosis or visual symptoms that you've written down, you can then start to align them with maybe these timescale things that have happened, like a fertilizer application that happened in the fall last year, and maybe you have a little bit of overlap, or maybe even a herbicide application that happened last year where we're getting carryover in specific areas. So when you compile all this information together, then you can begin to ask the question of, okay, what symptoms are aligning with my first assumption? And what symptoms are not aligning with my first assumption? Because we do run into a lot of scenarios with wheat production where there are issues that can look similar to other issues. Cutworm and wireworm, maybe actually herbicide carryover issues that could look like wireworm damage. So when we start running through these different scenarios and have this list of symptoms, we can really start to check off or cross off those symptoms that fit our assumptions, whether they're the first assumption or second assumption of what's going on there. And again, being able to share that information with fellow agronomists or other producers, and be able to paint a full picture to discuss that and figure out what the issue may be.